Hello all you hardcore boxing fans out there, how are you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. First of all, before I introduce my next guest, I just want to thank all them people for joining members area and all the people that are starting now to like the video, leave a comment, but most of all, share it amongst your pals on WhatsApp. We do have analytics that tells us what percentage of people that have viewed it are sharing it, and it seems to be going up all the time. So thank you very much for sharing the videos. Right, today I'm joined by Kent from Belfast in Northern Ireland, the hardcore we call him. How are you doing, Kent? You all right?
It's good to be on, Russell. It's good to talk to you this morning. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. I'm okay. A lot's gone on in the last, 48 hours. As you know, I put a video out yesterday morning. I was going to do it during England game, but I waited till morning. And I just weighed a few things up regarding Tyson Fury. I put the video out. And 6 hours after the video going out, they've come out on the ESPN and said, yeah, that there's a COVID in the camp. So whoever's the camp manager or running the camp are not doing a good job of it if people have got COVID. If they've got COVID, because don't forget, if anybody tells me a lie, I don't believe anything they say after that. So till I see some tests about people having COVID, I don't believe it. What do you think about it all, Ken?
You hit the nail on the head yesterday, Russell, when you spoke about the analytics of the build-up to the fight. It seemed like next to nothing. There was like one press conference where one person didn't really speak, and Tyson just spoke the usual, spiel. But apart from that, there was nothing really. It didn't really look, Russell, like Top Rank were promoting it. Now, remember the last fight, the last time they fought, Top Rank invested an awful lot of money in Super Bowl, in the halftime in advertising, and they were banking on that being the big viewership, gainer, and they didn't. The fight in America didn't gross more than 1 million buys. So I think commercially it wasn't really what they expected it to be. And this week, it's just been too quiet. It doesn't seem like a big fight build-up. Russell, when there's a big fight build-up, it's getting built every day. It's gaining momentum. It's building, and I didn't feel it. I didn't feel that big fight excitement. For me, I think Tyson Fury's got one fight left on that deal, and think about it, Russell. So, have they really got? Do you think that Bob Arum has got his money back from that deal? I don't think so.
Right. Let's just go back to the very beginning and what I said on my channel. I said, once Tyson Fury got in bed with Frank Warren, down the line, they will end up in court. And I'm going to stick to that. And I'm not saying they fell out, but reading between the lines, the tail's wagging dog now. Frank's not in charge of the situation now. And I don't think Bob Arum is. And I think Tyson knows that he's locked into a contract, whereas if he does fight again, it's Wilder or he can never fight again. He's got to retire now or fight Wilder. Personally, I think he probably needs a break from the sport. He needs to have a good look at all them people around him, because I remember Tyson when he used to train at Peter Fury's gym, and we're only going back when he was a world champion. We're going back in at 2000 and probably end of 2016, a year after he won the world title. They were flying around in a 51 plate S320 Merc. He still had the same mates, blah, blah, blah. Now look, here's a world champion and that, but look at the people around him. He'll be getting pulled here, there, and everywhere, right? Tyson, you've got to do this. Tyson, you need to be doing that. Don't do this, don't do that. Put this out, put that out. And I think probably his brain's probably scrambled. He probably left hand doesn't know what right hand's doing. Everybody's around him telling him how great he is this and that, gassing him up. It creeps up on you, This kind of thing creeps up on you. And what you have there, you're pulled in that many different directions, you probably don't know which way to go. And that's what I think's happened. I think he's had a overload in his brain, and I just think he's probably down tools. That's my opinion. I've studied him for the last few weeks. Everything he's put out, body language and everything. Don't forget, when you've got cameras in your face all the time, you can't put this act up, because look, they know how to play media game, him and his dad, don't they? But you can't keep this facade up all the time. And I think looking at the interviews he's done, 68% down on the Wilder rematch. So they're not promoting the fight, are they? And I just think it's overload and you're going to bail out. And I got it right, didn't I? I mean, 6 hours later after my video came out, look what happened. I'm a fucking genius.
Yeah, I agree with you. I remember Tyson as a young man turning pro with McKenzie, fighting in ITB. It was so much hype around him then, but he was handling it really well. It was a great story, and he had a lot of talent. I remember I met Tyson in Belfast numerous times. The first time was when he fought Nikolai Furta at Keen's Hall, and I met him and I was talking with him, and I just thought he was a great guy. And then it was his late uncle, Huey, was coaching him at the time. And then unfortunately, his uncle died. Then Peter came in and took over, and Peter brought a lot of stability, a lot of balance to the camp. He seemed to improve in all areas. Every year, he seemed to get more mature. Like he was maturing more as a young man with Peter. But you look now, you know, there's so many dietitians. There's that guy, Greg Harriet, the UFC guy that does a lot of diet. There's coaches, there's strength and conditioning coaches. There's, there's sparring partners, there's running buddies. That camp looks massive. And to be honest with you, Russell, the hype that Tyson Fury's got, the popularity that he's got now, you know, he can't go anywhere now. He can't go even for a swim in a swimming pool, and it's just a media frenzy. So you take that and you take the pressure of that contract. That contract was, did they really know this was going to happen? Yeah, that's why the contract was put there. You know, Al Heyman, Shelley Finkel, we have spoke about this. We spoke about this in our last video. They are big dogs, and that stress of having to go to America, go to your training camp, the distractions over there with media. You think media over here are bad. The media over there are even worse. And you can't blame him for his mind to be absolutely fried. You know, that contract, he knows now he doesn't want to fight Wilder, right? He doesn't. I don't want to see it. Nobody wants to really see it. But it was the price he's had to pay that price now, because that was the prerequisite to the first fight. That was what was going to happen. And I don't know what you said something really, really good yesterday, Russell, and you said that he would have to retire. I don't know how long they would class in the contract as being retired.
2 years.
There must
2 years.
2 years.
Because I don't know what it's in the contract. I don't know that, but Wilder hasn't got that long. So if Wilder carries on and then bails out of boxing, then he'll come back. He probably just wants a break to enjoy a bit of time. Tyson, he's had that much media scrutiny since he came back 4 years ago that his head's probably on fire with it. And don't forget, when you've got a camp, now I've been in training camps, and I've seen what goes on, right? His camp, he'll be having to take control of everything in that camp. He will be having to keep his finger on pulse. And he's a student of the game. He will know if he's right enough for Wilder. He'll know in his training times and his sparring and his fitness in it. And he's probably just said to himself, you know what? I don't feel good about this, because he don't take risks. He plays it safe. He probably don't feel good about this then, and they pulled the plug. The COVID thing, I don't believe it. A total load of bollocks, in my opinion, because Why would they all catch it like that? Let's see some positive tests. Like we wanted to see who is it, fellas? X-ray. Let's show me some COVID tests. I don't believe it. Because what everybody tested when they went in there anyway, before they got there. So let's see some tests. I don't believe that.
You hit it the nail on the head there, Russell. You know, Tyson Fury's been brought up in boxing. He is basically like an encyclopedia historian of boxing.
Yeah.
He speaks so articulated about boxing. I love listening to him talk about it when he's really on it. He knows the game inside out. You've spoke about Tyson as a young man, even before boxing, saving all his money up and having wee businesses. And he's a smart guy. He's not stupid. He knows boxing better than probably anyone in business ways, logistics ways. He knows his body better than anyone. And I agree with you. I agree that I don't think the money's going to be the same for this fight. It's definitely not. The last fight did not draw. And this fight's going to draw even less. You know, if it's 68% down in analytics, how far down is it going to be in pay-per-view buys? So that is crucial as well. I don't think he's, you know, he said something last week about coming in at the fighting over £300. Like, I don't care how talented or how fit you are. I don't think coming in at over £300 would have been sensible for him. I think it would have been too big. I think he just feels that he's not as on it as possibly the last fight, as you say. There's been so much distractions. You know that Tyson now is a brand. You know, he is a commercial success. You know, so he can go and do anything. He can go and do WWE. He can do reality TV. He can do fly in the wall documentaries. He can do books for 2 years and still make a lot of money. I just think the whole thing, as you say, has been wrong. And the whole thing is Russell as well. So I follow the ESPN Top Rank on YouTube. And, you know, it doesn't look, the gym looks like it's just like open camp. You know, there looks like there's multiple camps going on in there. You know, lots of people around. I don't know. I think if he's COVID, I think it's a good excuse to pull out of the fight, because if it was a hand injury or a cut eye, we would want the scan or the see the photo where COVID, they can kind of get away with it.
Right. Which part do you want me to reply to there?
All of it.
Right. Credibility. Where's his credibility now? Down the pan, isn't it?
This has happened before. This has happened several times now. So it has. And I think the only belt that Tyson Fury's ever defended was the English title in the John McDermott rematch. So there is a thing there of not defending titles. I think if it hadn't have been this pandemic and the whole travel restrictions, I think it would have been 10 times worse, to be honest, because people would have been booking flights and paying for hotels. So I think this time it's kind of, I'm not saying it's not bad. I think this time I don't think people will have been traveling over. So I think they get away with it this time. But you're right, the credibility there isn't. This has happened several times. So I'm disappointed, but I'm not shocked, to be honest, with what's previously happened.
Right. If Tyson doesn't fight Wilder this year, and I don't think he's going to do it now, it looks like they say they're going to reschedule it, but listen, this is going to court again. It's going to be drowned out in court. But if he don't fight Wilder this year, if Joshua doesn't fight Usyk this year, and if Fury doesn't fight Joshua this year, is boxing on the scrappy, yes or no?
Yes. It's boxing now. You speak about things day by day. You say boxing changes so much week by week, and it's not now. It's daily. Boxing's changing daily. It is. It's a circus now. It's kind of becoming an attraction sport where it's not really a sport anymore. It's becoming like you watch other events like strongman. Strongman's an attraction entertainment event. That's what boxing's becoming now. It's becoming a freak attraction. It's becoming tune in for the shock value. And it's not that the pure roots of boxing now is totally forgot about it.
Do you,
Boxing's now in its worst ever state ever.
right. Do you feel that, your Carl Frotchers, your Carl Zaggers, your Clinton Woods, people like that's from like a bygone era, isn't it, compared to what we've got now? Because everybody's a businessman now, aren't they? They all want to be businessmen and not boxers. Now, looking at it from outside, where does boxing go now from here? Because it ain't really all about legacy. They talk about legacy, but it ain't. Look at Dylan White, for example. He's plenty to say on social media and YouTube and in press and that, but the man's not fought for a European title, but he's now begging for Wilder fight for a 7th pay-per-view. I mean, has he got any credibility? Can we say that he's going to be one of the greats? Look at his CV, what he's done.
Where's the B sample?
2 years this week, that innit, or last week. July, wasn't it? 2019. Yeah. So 2 years we are at this B sample, a second drug test failure. And he's not fighting nobody, but he's plenty to say. His promoter, Eddie Hills, has come out today and he's putting him in the mix to fight Wilder, but Wilder's a contract with Fury. So why is Eddie jumping in on a trending story yet again, isn't it? Eddie, you're a prick.
It's that whole thing, Russell. Eddie's just a narcissist. Eddie is just about making everything about Eddie, about himself. It's clickbait. He knows fine rightly that listen, Russell, do you honestly think Dillian White is going to go over and fight Deontay Wilder in 2 weeks' time for very little money and possibly get absolutely sparked clean out?
Oh, he'll get put into orbit again, like when Povetkin done him. They're like, bye, we're doing trips to the moon.
He needed to bring in multiple coaches. He needed 14 weeks to train to beat a 41-year-old man who was coming off COVID, who knocked him out. So I don't think he's going to fight Deontay Wilder at 2 weeks' notice. And anyway, if you're really into your boxing, you really know about boxing, you'll know that. Do you honestly think Al Heyman is going to work with Eddie Hearn on that fight?
No. Another thing as well. What was that guy? What's that guy called who went to the moon? Was it Buzz Lightyear? Is that him? He went to the moon.
Buzz Aldrin.
Oh, is it Buzz? I thought it was Buzz Lightyear.
It's Toy Story.
Oh, is that Toy Story? Oh, well, that's Dylan White, mate. That Buzz, whatever it's called. They were like that, uppercutted into space. That's Dylan White, mate. They can't, man. Anybody who wants it can't get it, but they can get it if they're over 40. Isn't that right, Dean White? Show us your passport, Dean White. Prick.
The thing is as well, it's going to be interesting to see. There's always someone in the background, and these big fights.
Spencer Fearon. What's Spencer Fearon have to say about Fury pulling out? He's a big MTK bum licker, isn't he? Spencer Fearon, you've plenty to say for yourself. Come and see me at Shape Arm in, kid. Come and see me.
The whole thing there that when there's a big fight and there's always someone there in the background as like a replacement, an alternate. Yeah. And I've noticed that Fury had been sparring with Afe Jagba, the Nigerian guy.
Oh yeah.
Afe Jagba. So he's been in camp training with Fury. He's been Fury's sparring partner for the last 2 camps for Wilder. So it would be interesting to see if any of them guys will be allowed to step in, or if anybody does step in, because Jagba's been in the camp with Fury, so he will have to probably self-isolate as well, or he could probably have COVID. you know, so it's going to be interesting to see who they get as replacement. My opinion is, Russell, I think Wilder will fight in 2 weeks' time. I think he has to fight for his own mindset, his own sanity, because he needs to get some sort of momentum back. If he doesn't fight here, it's going to be well over a year and a half to 2 years before he's fought.
Right. Can Tyson Fury fight that Ngannou MMA? Because there's a rumour doing rounds that Dana White's supposed to have put an offering for him to fight that. If he does fight that, will that class as a breach? Because that's not boxing. Will that be a breach of the contract? Yes or no?
It's still a breach. It's still a breach. It is. It's still combat. It's still fighting. So it is, whether they do it in an octagon with no kicks, no elbows, no grappling. I don't think Tyson would fight Francis Ngannou with the MMA gloves on, because, you know, he's not used to hitting someone with 4-ounce gloves. And with Ngannou's power, I don't think you would even risk that. I don't know what is going on. You know, we have listened to Dana talk about this for 2 years, about Zuffa boxing with the Fajita brothers getting in again. So that's been a bit quiet for a while, to be honest. Yeah. I think he's not spoke about it because of the pandemic and stuff. So I'd always a suspicion that if Tyson Fury when the 5-fight deal finished with Top Rank, he would, if Zuffa boxing was launched, I think that he would quite possibly sign with Zuffa boxing, because Zuffa would need a megastar, and if they sign Tyson Fury, that would just launch their brand and give them so much leverage in the market. But to be honest, Russell, you look at the deal with Top Rank and ESPN. So you had Otto Wallen fight. It wasn't even on primetime television or pay-per-view, and it was empty. You look at Tom Schwartz. It was a kind of big draw. It filled well, but I don't know what the ratings were. Then you look at the first Wilder fight. It didn't draw anything over 1 million. The second rematch didn't draw over 1 million.
No.
Is your opinion, Russell, has Top Rank lost money in this deal?
Yeah. Overpaid, haven't they?
Yeah. And why was that? Ask you a question.
Because Bob Arum's ego was massive, and he's a decrepit old fucker who needs to retire to a Shackleton's high seat chair and a nurse at home and loads of big spliffs of chronic.
So we look at we go back chronologically, we go back and we look at what was going on in the market, and we look at DAZN. When DAZN was launched, every promoter just they couldn't believe it. It was like panic buying. It was like panic buying last year, and everyone was buying bog rolls and pasta for lockdown.
Hey, I got ripped off with all that, you know. I ordered 8 tubs of Marvel, and they charged me 55 quid for 8 tubs of Marvel that should have been, I don't know, 20 quid delivered, 50 odd quid.
So they saturated the market, and that's why the likes of Arum just jumped in head first, didn't even think, signed Tyson Fury to this monster deal, mega deal, and they haven't got anything back. So do you think Bob Arum is happy that this has happened, or do you think this was meant to happen?
Look, they're all trying to outdo each other behind the scenes, aren't they? Do you know what? It's becoming just about what Bob Arum does, what Eddie Hearn does, what Frank Warren does. But what about what fucking fans want? We want the fights. We don't want to see this pile of shit. Look, what's the point in having mandages if you're not going to fucking have the mandages? So Joshua's a shit house. Tyson Fury, he looks like he's away with fairies at the moment. He's got that many people pulling him in this many directions. The fights are not being made. They're talking a good game, but nobody's fighting anybody. Billy Joe Saunders were calling out Golovkin and Canelo 6 years ago. He's only just fought Canelo. Look, I want, you know, this lot who you watching here, right? Line them all up. Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, Bob Arum. Who would you fucking believe out of any of them? If you said to, is it raining outside? And they said, yeah, you'd still fucking get out of bed and check, wouldn't you? Because you won't believe them, would you? Put Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Dylan White and Wilder. Wilder's away with cuckoos. Dylan White ain't got, he's got the fucking heart of a breadcrumb. He don't want to fight anybody unless they're over 40, then they can get it. Tyson tells more lies than Walter Mitty. And Anthony Joshua, fucking hell, he's controlled, isn't he, by Matchroom and his paymasters. They just wheel him out to say something that he's reading off a script. You won't fucking believe any of them, would you? A lot of them shithousers. The fights are not being made. That's all I care about, fights, right? And they're not being made. And looking at it as a fan first, before all this channel and all this here, look at it from a fan's point of view. I sit there, and I put Tyson's interview on. And all he's doing is Gareth A. Davis interview. So, Gareth A. Davis, I don't see anything with Phelps. She's usually hanging out at the back of him. I don't see any on IFL. I don't see any BT Sport. Where are they? What's happened to them? Have they got no money no more? I don't see Sky interviewing. I don't see anybody asking him anything. I see Gareth A. Davis there, and I'm looking to his head, and I'm thinking, do you know what? He's going to pull out him. He's written all over his face. He don't want to be there. And he's surrounded by all these people. And he must have known when he did that Gareth A. Davis, the second one the other day, that this wasn't going to happen. He must have known it wasn't going to happen. I thought, I'll put a video out. They're taking piss out, fans, mate. Lining the pockets. Go look on his Instagram. They're selling all sorts of memorabilia. And they'd have still been selling it now if I had put that video out now, you know. If I had put that video out now, they wouldn't have come out and said that they're not fighting. They would have carried it on up to fight week. I'm telling you now for nothing, mate.
Russell, I'm going to ask you a question now. This last 6 months in boxing, has anybody now got any credibility?
None. None of them. We're going to come to a few other things in a minute, but none of them. It's all about pound notes. It's now a freak show. It's a circus.
I spoke to my friend, Nat. I speak to quite a lot about boxing, my friend, and he loves the sport, and he remembers the times where there was midweek fights, Saturday grandstand, really good British title fights, really good domestic fights. You don't see that anymore. You don't see the purity of the sport is completely lost. It is just emerged now. It seems to be now that a lot of fighters are more businessmen than boxers, and the greed of boxing now is it's like nothing. I've never ever seen boxing as greedy and as not corrupt, but I've never seen boxing now with as least credibility than any sport, least credibility.
Right. Anyway, enough about the adventures of Tintin or Walter Mitty, Tyson Fury. He's lost all credibility now if that fight doesn't happen with Wilder. For leading fans astray. And as regards for, we'll finish off on this. Eddie Hearn now, well, he's got to do something with Joshua. He's got to make Usyk fight, hasn't he? We'll just finish off on this. Does Eddie make that Usyk fight now? Yes or no?
No.
No. And if they don't, it's on scrap heap, mate. That's my opinion. Do you agree?
Yeah, totally.
Right. Let's move on then. Dave Allen said he was going to fight this guy. I don't know his fucking name, some guitar player. They were doing pretend weigh-ins and this and that in front of Fight Zone, pull-ups, billboards and that. People are complaining on social media that they've paid for Fight Zone to watch Dave Allen fight this guy who looks like Shaggy out Scooby-Doo. They've paid for Dave Allen 19 stone to fight an 11 stone man. And the fight's not happened by the looks of it. Where does this leave boxing now. If that is that a PR scam? Was that a PR scam to get people to subscribe to Fight Zone? Yes or no? And who's behind
Absolutely.
it? And who's
Absolutely.
who's behind it?
I think the person who was behind it, should be embarrassed.
Well, I know who's behind it, but I'm not going to say his name on here because he'd be crying, won't you? I've got bollocks to send me a proper solicitor's letter, but they've done it for a PR scam to get more subscriptions on Fight Zone. That's what I think, in my opinion. If I'm wrong, come and challenge me, because they won't. Now, is that where boxing's heading now? Circus acts to try and get people to subscribe to channels?
It's not boxing. It's not boxing. I don't want to see a guitar player. I don't want to see some guy who's never fought before. I don't want to see some guy that hasn't got a license. I don't want to see some guy that's never been in a fight in his life against Dave Allen. In fact, I don't want to watch Dave Allen full stop, because I invested and wasted so much time in getting behind Dave Allen and supporting him and liking him. And he's coming out and telling people that he never trained, he never done this. I'm sick of the funny stories. I'm sick of this. I'm just absolutely sick of Dave Allen. You know, the very fact that he turned around and said that boxing had been so bad to him, and he's had so much like health issues. I don't want to see him even sparring again. So I'm sick of Dave Allen, to be honest. I think the whole thing is an absolute embarrassment. And anyway, if that was meant to happen, how would the board let that happen? How could the board let that happen?
Well, maybe the board stopped it, and it maybe were going to happen. We don't know, do it? But is this what's happened to Dave Allen now? He's now become like the circus act. I mean, he's just put something out here now saying that I can't even be able to get it up. Somebody just sent me something. He's put something on Instagram saying that he's making his acting and musical debut or something. What is he going to be doing? Stand up or something? Or what's he going to be doing? Singing in the rain on stage or something? Dave, what has happened to you? What has happened to you? You was a fighting man at one point, but what are you doing now? You're strutting about in your ice cream outfit. I don't know what to make of him. I don't know what to make of it all. It's car crash, mate, isn't it? It's car crash. I mean, why can't I just go rematch Nick Webb? Go rematch Nick Webb, or go fight Nathan Gorman or something. Do something constructive with your life instead of pulling somebody's ponytail in your underpants. I mean, if that were the biggest setup of my life, you don't pull that and then turn around. What are we in fucking playground at school or something? What the fuck?
I'm just really disappointed. Do you know what, Russell? I was going to actually subscribe to Fight Zone and support them because I support boxing. See, because of that, I'm not doing it now. I'll never do it.
I've had 13 emails this morning of people saying they are unsubscribing from Fight Zone. So I said, well, don't do that, please, because Dennis needs as many subscriptions as he can get at the moment, because I've heard they might be pulling the plug on it any day. So please don't unsubscribe from Fight Zone. We need to set a GoFundMe page up for Dennis Hobson. Support Den, save Dennis, or pray for Dennis. Oh my God.
I support boxing, but when I put a platform on like that, when they try and put an event on like that on that platform, it's not about boxing. So I don't want to know about it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to think about it. I think that's the type of thing now that has got boxing in such a terrible state. It's a mess. It's a mess. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dave Allen goes on the exhibition circuit and jumps in with legends and tries and does, because it means he doesn't have to train, doesn't need to be dedicated. He can turn up at 20 stone and do a move around and get paid for it. I don't even think he wants to do that.
A move around? What, from pizza to KFC?
It'll be like a move around like the Billy Ricky Iceman's 2 skills bouts, something like that there. That's the way boxing's going. You know, Sky is, I'm really let down by Sky. You know,
I am
You
Right.
know, the very fact that Wasserman now are going into KSI is going to front the Wasserman celebrity boxing circuit, that is just absolutely
Pony.
it's dog's dirt. It's dog's dirt. I don't want to see that. I think it is terrible. The zone, we were waiting in this massive, game changing. The zone lineup it couldn't be any worse.
Okay.
It couldn't be any worse.
Right. Let's move on then. We'll finish off on Derek Chisora, David Hay. Is David Hay a whore? Yes or no?
Yep.
Will he be looking now to pimp somebody else out now that him and Del Boy have parted ways?
See, that's what David does. He tried to latch on to Joe Joyce at the start of his career. It didn't last too long. I think you're right. David Hay is about David Hay. That's it. It's about him getting more publicity that he's retired. You look at now what you spoke about last week, that the money now in the zone is nowhere near what it's going to be like in Sky.
No.
Chisora isn't going to get another pay-per-view fight.
No.
It's done. So that percentage that David wants, he's not going to get that now. So he's what I think he's walked away because he knows that he's not going to want to invest any more time to get less money. It's the whole Darren Barker thing again. Remember when Darren Barker was this great trainer and he was doing sessions with Dave Allen. Then once Dave Allen went back down, Darren Barker went back down. Once he went back down to 68 round money, it was like, pull the plug on it right away. So I don't know. I don't think David as a manager has the pull or the clout to really, really get his fighters what they need.
Well, this is how I look at it, right? Sky going through this change at the moment with the fighters and the dates and who's running the job and pundits and commentators has had a knock-on effect for people. And I think maybe Chisora and Hay, I think maybe Hay was struggling to deliver something for Chisora, so they parted company. But where's David Hay go now? Who's he got now? Who is he managing?
I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to latch on to someone like a David Adelaide or something like that next. I wouldn't be surprised because he's around those Frank Warren shows. He's around Sky shows. What's he going to deliver? What's he going to deliver for them?
Can't deliver shit, mate. You can't deliver shit, mate. There's talkers and there's Smoky Bacon walkers, but where's Del Boy? Where's Del Boy go now, though? 11 losses, talking like really, Where's Del Boy Chisora go now?
What did David Hay actually do for Derek Chisora, Russell? What did he do?
Well, he got him beat up, didn't he?
He had
let me ask you this, Ken. Let me ask you this. Did Derek Chisora beat Usyk, yes or no, on points?
No.
Right. Did he beat Parker on points, yes or no?
I fell asleep during the fight, Russell. Right. I fell asleep.
Right, okay. Is Derek Chisora a shot fighter, yes or no?
Yep.
Can he win a world title?
No.
Should he be pay-per-view?
No.
Right, there you go. So anybody who takes him on, they're just going to be polishing a turd, aren't they, basically?
The thing when David Hay came in, his last really, really good win was the Takam fight. It was a thriller. Don Charles was there. Then straight away after the fight, Don Charles got the boot. Again, out. David's taken over. The very fact that he went into the Alexander Usyk fight with no trainer, didn't have a trainer in camp at all. That's mind-blowing. That is absolutely mind-blowing. I don't care if you're working with someone for 4 weeks. Buddy McGirt come in, got his money, done a bit of pads, watched a bit of sparring. That shows to me that you can be as serious as you want. You can do all your sit-ups, your crunches, your core workouts that David talks about all the time. Get your ice baths, go to bed early. But if you're managing a fighter, Russell, would you not want to have them to have stability with a coach?
Yeah, of course I would. Yeah, I think a trainer should be the manager, the strength and condition, the nutritionist. It should just be the fighter and the trainer. All these other people, get gone. Get out of Dodge. Stop hanging out at back of fighters' hula hoops. Look, for example, I'm not going to name names here, but a fighter, if he's got a trainer, like that trainer knows who they want to fight. So what does a fucking manager do anyway? The fighter's going to say, oh, my manager's offered me this to trainer. Trainer's going to go, oh, we don't want that fight. We want that one. Tell him to get that one. The trainer should manage. I'm all for trainers doing the managing. The trainer knows what a fighter needs to eat, and they know when they need to go to bed and get up and all that. The trainer's the one that the fighter confides in. He's the closest person to the fighter. So why have we got all these people walking around with fucking spreadsheets from other industries saying, oh, we're from this industry, football, from athletics. Well, fuck off back to them industries. If you're that good, what are you hanging around fucking boxing for? Fuck off. Get out of the sport. Get gone. They're not needed, these people. They're not fucking needed. All you people, strength and condition and nutrition people, fuck off out of boxing. Go now while you fucking still can. You're not fucking needed. A boxer knows when he's got to get up. He knows what to fucking eat. I mean, fuck me. What, people start fucking about with boxing and all hell breaks loose. Telling you.
Russell, I agree with you and I disagree with you there. And what I'm saying is, I think it has to be down to the trainer. See if the trainer says, right, I want to bring somebody in that he works with and he knows and he trusts. You look back at back in the day when Billy Graham would have brought in Carrie Kays to do some nutritional work and do some strength training with fighters. I think it has to be from the coach. It has to be someone that the coach knows, the coach works with, and it can't be from the fighter. Oh, I'm bringing this guy in now. I'm bringing this guy in now, and the coach is like, "What? I've no time to coach. Like we've literally no time to do fundamentals and coach." So I think that's where there's a conflict of interest there. I think
if the trainer's got too much on in the gym, you can understand him bringing somebody in to help. But my opinion is this: if it's a one-on-one situation, the trainer can do everything. The trainer knows what they need to be eating, when to go to bed, how many calories are in sprouts or steak or whatever. I mean, I saw an interview the other day. Kell Brooks here training for Golovkin and he's training for Spence after Golovkin fight, and he's saying, I'm eating more, Eddie. I'm eating more. I'm eating steak for breakfast. Well, it didn't fucking help you, did it? You know what I mean? We've got these people on board that give me steak in the morning, Eddie. Steak. Load of bollocks.
I think it all goes down to as well is there's a lot of people out there want to latch in to boxing.
Yeah,
and I'm all for
fucking vultures, mate. Vultures circling about.
I'm all for sports science, but it has to be to the point where they actually know what they're doing. So if you had like a nutritionist there who you brought someone like, they've been talking in this camp, Kell Brook, he's been struggling to make the weight for years. And if you had someone there that had real credibility and say, you know what, your body fat is way too low to get down to this weight. I don't want you fighting at this weight. I'm not going to work with you if they're going to bring you at this weight. That's what needs to happen. Where no, they're just saying, oh yeah, go ahead, do this, do that, give me the money. So that's where you need to look out for. I think honesty with fighters is the most important thing. I think you're right. The coach should know coaches should know their fighters. And if they don't know their fighters and they don't know how to train, they don't know how to get their fighters to adapt into the stresses of camp, you shouldn't be training a fighter then. But as you say, if it's a big camp, it's a big gym, and you're working with, say you've got 3 or 4 fighters in title fights, it would be hard to manage. So bringing someone in that you know who actually knows about strength and conditioning properly, you bring someone in that knows about nutrition properly, that helps. But if a fighter is just saying, here, you're some PT guy off in a gym coming in and doing circuits with him, that's not strength and conditioning, Russell. That's not.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Well, we're out of time, kid. You've had 50 minutes. So thank you for coming on, Kent. Been
you haven't said as much bad language today, Russell.
Listen, mate, I've come to the conclusion now that I'm just going to be myself. Forget what these say. We don't make a penny anyway off these videos. We either put a song on. I usually have a song on in my car. You don't get paid for copyright, or I'm swearing. So I've come to the conclusion that, look, as long as I'm not forking out like I were for the first 3 years, I'm not really bothered. I'm enjoying myself doing this. Obviously, I've got other things to do now, like for the rest of the day, but I enjoy doing this and getting my point across. This probably helps me behave myself, because if I weren't doing this, I'd just be somewhere out of a tree, somewhere with a load of scrubbers. So
it's positive because we're going on this channel and we're actually educating people on what actually is happening in the sport. We're actually it's an opinion, and you look at all the logistics of everything we've been saying and you have been saying for the last couple of years. It's all coming to fruition. You know, I get a lot of stick about being negative. Oh, I'm negative and all. I knew that the Wilder fight wasn't going to happen. I said that to people. People are falling out with me over that. I knew that he was going to pull out. I've said that. It's just the truth, and people don't like the truth.
Yeah, they don't. But listen, you take care, Kent. Have a great weekend. It's Friday. I've got Decker Heggie on tonight. So he's coming on channel tonight. And I've got Michael Apollo as well.
Brilliant.
Coming on. So I'm going to upload this now, and then I'm going to go home, take my dog. I'm going to take him for a good 3-4 mile walk, come back, have a shake probably, and then I'm going to come and do them two, Decker Heggie and Michael. So it's all go. But thank you very much for coming on. You've been a real tonic, and I hope you and your family are okay, and I hope you have a great weekend, Kent. People keep saying, Kent, Rico and Terry, they're the top 3, but I think everybody who comes on the channel brings something different, everybody, and I'll get round to everybody. I'm going to even it all out. It's just a case of finding the time. So if you haven't been asked by me to come on, remind me by email or over WhatsApp if you want to come on. All right, folks. Peace out. Cheers, Ken.
Take care.